are you and tell me about yourself?
My name's Salwyn Farrell. I'm from a small town in the Northern Territory, about northwest of Katherine, I think. Also, my language group is Rambaranga, which is like at the top end, like in Gupperwick and Mangarita based. I speak two other languages other than Creole and English. So Rambaranga, Maili, and Nungabuyu. So that's pretty cool.
What makes an Aboriginal person an Aboriginal?
For me, it's like not about skin color, because like Emily's a bit lighter. I'm aware of people like that, but I just got to like ask them and not be rude. But like for Emily, like what she told me before we started dating, like before I knew she was Aboriginal, she told me like about the stuff that her great grandmother went through, like all that stuff, all the pale skin like Aboriginal people. But for me, it's mainly the connection of what was passed down.
So what makes a person elder?
His knowledge of the land, the way he does things, and the way he talks, and how the community looks up to him or her.
What are some things that make an Aboriginal a leader?
Make an Aboriginal leader? Pretty much the stuff that I just said right then, like the way he talks, the way he treats his family and his people.
What is one Aboriginal stereotype that you would like to break, and what is it, and how could you break it?
That every time I come across like a group of white people, they're always like telling me how good at sport I am, like without knowing or like seeing me play. Like they just assume that.
How do you define racism?
When someone says something about like my skin, I suppose.
Have you ever experienced racism?
Probably once at a footy game in Mornington.
Yeah. What happened there?
Kicked a goal like about 5 minutes before I kicked the goal. Me and an opponent like got into a bit of a tussle, and as we were separated by the like our footy mates, he like called me a nigger.
How did that make you feel?
That kind of made me angry a little bit, like lose my temper. But then I remembered that I played footy, and I just showed him when I kicked that goal.
What makes you proud to identify as Aboriginal?
I'd say my totem, my connection to my people.
What is the totem? Keep going.
Totem. Dad's side is a king brown snake, and then mum's side is a green tree frog. That's a bit of both. We don't really choose.
What aspects of Aboriginal culture has been lost within your family?
Within my family, I'm just going to talk about my community for this one. In my community, we used to have these like ceremonies to like turn kids to young men, but that wasn't passed down due to like kids sniffing and getting into Yandi and stuff. So that's kind of like lost to us now.
Do you think that it will change?
Nah, I think it's just going to stay like that because the people who knew the like song lines and stuff and how to properly do it, they all died off. That's why we have to go like into other communities to do it, to get initiated.
What brought you to Melbourne?
Education, I'd say, because mum didn't really want me around spoiled kids. Plus, most of my cousins, they were like pretty deep into sniffing and smoking and all that.
Yeah.
And mum didn't really want me around them.
So, what's your favorite color?
Green, like that behind you.
Why?
Oh yeah.
Why is green your favorite color?
Green. Green. I just like Splice, the ice cream, and the icy pie, I guess, because that's what kind of made me like green so much.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Super speed.
Why is that?
Because like since I'm down here and I really don't want to pay for flights and stuff, you can just run home and run back. You get it in 5 seconds.
So what are some ways you connect with your Aboriginal culture?
For me, because every year we have this festival in Buwanha, and before the opening of the festival, we've got this like little thing where before the start of the festival, we have like a little gathering. We just have like a little dance that afternoon, like dancing around the fire, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that's my way of connecting.
Do you have an Aboriginal hero?
Yeah, I'd say Eddie Betts.
So,
I don't really vote for Carlton.
yeah. So why then?
For me, having Eddie Betts as a hero is because footy, and he's really good left and right footer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your community too, are they more open now to marrying outside of culture?
Like, we don't really have cultures like that, but there is some like similar things that we do have to follow. We just got to make sure that we met our like right skin. Like me, I'm a Gamaran, and Emily is like, I can go two ways. Like I can call her cousin, but since we're dating, so I can't really call her cousin now. But yeah, like they weren't really like that big. But yeah, we do have to follow like certain rules in the community.
If you have kids, what aspects of culture must they know?
When probably have kids, Emily, I'm probably going to send him back to visit my dad for a little bit because he's very big on stuff like that, cultural stuff, because he's like a big elder in the community. And yeah, when I have kids, I want to take him back all the way over there so he can have the opportunities that I didn't get because I came down here for the last 4 years.
What have you missed out on?
Initiation, and a few other things that I can't really say. So I'd say a lot.
Can't say because it's cultural, or because you'd probably tell me somewhere else having a beer, but you can't really tell us on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I get it. Do you think racism's changed at all in the last few years?
I don't think so. It's still pretty big, like out there with the cops and stuff like that. Like we got to deal with bullshit artist people, and like cops don't really respect us at all still because that really hasn't changed.
Do you ever feel profiled?
Not really. Can't say that.
You could go back to Woodleigh and stand up on the stage and they said, hey, Salwyn, you've got 5 minutes to tell this whole group what it's like to be Aboriginal in 2020. What would you say to them?
Being a black person in this year, probably like I'd probably say stuff about like sport and my culture, but I wouldn't talk about like living like in this city or whatnot because as soon as I say that, I'll probably get judged like a black person living in the city like that and with a high-paying job. Because I'll probably get judged a lot. I'll probably talk about all the good things, but not so much the bad things.
What are some good things?
Good things like growing up in a community, you've like got everything handed to you, basically. Like your uncles and aunties and all that have to carry you. Like everywhere you go, they take you out fishing, hunting, eating bush foods. Yeah, that's the good things, and you get to go anywhere you want, basically.
What do you miss most about going home?
For me, probably going out with the family, out in the bush.
What do you enjoy being in Melbourne?
Being down here kind of restricts me a little bit, but
yeah.
I'd say the weather a little bit because up there it's like hot as anything, and down here where it's cold and you can just wear shorts and not feel like anything. Like you can't sweat or anything, which is pretty good.
Yeah. So you're a bit overdressed at the moment for?
Yes, because the heater's not working.
Yeah. But if you're back at home, you probably wouldn't be wearing that jumper.
I'd be having a singlet, footy shorts, and probably sitting by the hose.
If you could come up with a motto or a saying, what would you want to say to them?
I'd probably say, like, get out there, explore the world, see the different opportunities. You'll get like more experiences. You'll get more out of life than just sitting in one community all the time.
Should we take kids from community and bring them down and educate them away from their community? Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing from your own personal experience?
For me, I'd say it's a pretty good thing, because if I was still up there, like, Mum wouldn't really want me around like her. She'd probably kick me out the house and tell me to go make something of myself. But I'm kind of glad that she sent me down here, like looking at where I am at the moment.
Do you think if you had the opportunity and you had kids, would you prefer to live on your own land, or would you prefer to continue living in Melbourne, or, as you said, like exploring, trying new things?
I do want to kind of like take them back home and like live there, but you got to like make them get used to the life of like living with white people first. Because like for me, meeting white people for the first time was kind of scary. It's just me, one black kid out of everyone else is just like white. Yeah. So for me, I'd probably live down here for a bit.
How old were you when you came down?
When I first came down, I was about 2010, so about 11. Yeah, but when I started coming to school here in Woodleigh, I was about 16.
How old were you when you saw your first white person?
I was about 7 or 8. I met Santa Claus. Didn't really like him. He scared me. Even though he offered me lollies, but I didn't really like him. Ran out of the shop screaming, looking for Mum. So yeah.
What's one thing you enjoy doing?
Hanging out with Emily. Yeah, because we like prefer to do stuff like together and not really like by ourselves. Because when we do stuff by ourselves, it's like not really as fun. Yeah.
How long have you been going out with them for now?
1 year and 2 months, I'd say.
What makes your relationship work?
What makes it work? Well, we kind of like the same things that we do. Like when she's playing COD, I'm going to want to play COD with her. Like it's a communication and talk.
We talked to us a bit about it before, but she was saying that going out with you, that she gets different reactions from people about if she, and it's not kind of, she's not clear if it's racism per se, but she said, ask Selwyn for his opinion on this. Because when she goes to see your friends or being up in your community area, she's not seen as Aboriginal.
Because all the like black folks back home, like they're not really like educated on that sort of stuff. Whereas my mum, like she's really big on stuff like that. Like when she first met Emily, she like kind of knew what tribe Emily was from. Some people can look at your hair and tell where you're from and what your skin name is. Yeah, like folks weren't really big on stuff like that. They were not really educated enough to understand. But Mum had a different way of learning me.
What would you like to see changed after this COVID thing's over?
I don't know. There's kind of a lot of things I want to see change. Like I don't really like essays because they scare me a bit.
Yeah.
But more people like getting along with each other.
Is there anything that you think might take a long time to change back, or we may have lost altogether?
Footy, definitely footy. Like, I don't know if I can kick, because I've been playing a lot of basketball lately, like in my backyard. Going back into training and doing some running, I think that'll probably be the hardest thing for like the boys in my group, like my footy group, and your side. So yeah, I don't think that's gonna ever go back to normal for me.
What would you want people to remember you?
That I can kick left and right in footy, and that they're impeccable. You can't tell which is my preferred foot.
Beautiful. I'm happy with that one.
Yep.
Okay, I've got no more questions for you, mate. Oh, Ash has got one question.
Do you know what you want to do next year?
Probably sport and rec supervisor. Like going back up home and running like activities in like little communities, like for kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.